We now have more information about the government's propaganda machine that used the mainstream media and the big tech during the lockdown in order to attack our civil liberties and free speech. Hello ladies and gentlemen and all the beautiful freedom fighters, welcome to the channel. It's Wednesday the 14th of June and we have a new logo somewhere up here. There we go. We have a new logo, we have a new branding, and we've got some exciting news coming up in regards to our channel and our operation and everything else we're doing on a daily basis. Thanks to your support. First things first, let's talk about what's been going on. You remember a while ago we reported about this secretive unit that the government used during the lockdown to spread their propaganda, to clamp down on free speech and any challenge in regards to the government scientists and the medical experts and everything else. Well, there's some new information about what's been going on inside that secretive unit and all the government agents that were doing this. Basically, the lockdown disinformation unit made hourly contracts with tech firms, big tech firms like your Facebooks and all the others, in order to work together. So we already reported that they had these essentially agreements with the likes of the BBC and all the mainstream media channels, and that's why everybody was acting like a parrot during the lockdown. It's not really that surprising, it's not really shocking, but the fact that they're now coming out, well, there are people who are revealing more information about what happened, yet at the same time, there doesn't seem to be any consequences. There doesn't seem to be any retaliation from those who are anti-lockdown, who are, for example, in Parliament. There are some who are fighting back, including David Davis, for example. He's been quite spot on these issues. But again, it's just one man. You know, he's been completely ignored by the rest of Parliament and establishment ever since he's been speaking out against the lockdown measures and the way the government went towards tyranny in order to protect their own law and order, as they would say. Now, David Davis, the former Tory cabinet minister, whose comments were logged by the unit, he was also targeted during the lockdown, and they were spying on David Davis and many others, called for the CDU to be shut down and for a parliamentary committee to investigate it. He said that the most paranoid wing of government is interfering in the democratic process, and a parliamentary inquiry with the biggest combination of power, access and speed was required. Yet, nobody is listening to David Davis. David Davis and many others, including media commentators and other journalists who were speaking out against it, or at least asking questions during the lockdown about the policies, they were all spied on by these secretive agents. And now they're coming out to basically say, oh yeah, we also had some contracts using taxpayers' money with big tech to clamp down. Not just big tech, by the way. Obviously, we already reported they had connections with the BBC. The BBC became, essentially, at the end of the day, the BBC who attended government meetings at which so-called misinformation was discussed, was accused of acting as the broadcast arm of the government during the pandemic, as journalists described being mocked if they tried to give a voice to lockdown skeptics. Now, you've got the propaganda machine, you've got the broadcast arm, you've got the actual secret agents, you've got everybody using taxpayers' money in order to challenge the taxpayer. So, are we actually going to have an inquiry, as David Davis is trying to push, and people like Andrew Bridgen? Unlikely, but they might do a gimmicky investigation into this unit in Parliament just to keep things quiet and calm. They might do that. And we might not really get any proper conclusion. They might have a report. They might not even release the report. That's usually how it works in Westminster, unfortunately. But maybe after the next election, if hypothetically you had a group of MPs who were pretty sound and pro-freedom being elected, maybe there's a chance of having something done in the House. Now, Mr. Connolly, who was in charge and involved with this whole thing, described the CDU as a cell within government, using the same systems as those in place to stop enemies. Wow. She said one of its big functions was talking to social media platforms and passing information over. It gets information back from them and encourages that swift takedown. Wow. The swift dealings with platforms. The cell has daily interactions with almost all the platforms. That's just disgusting. She's also named on documents obtained by the newspaper. Obviously, this was reported by many others, including the Telegraph, as the chair of the Counter Disinformation Policy Forum, a group that operated for 6 months during the pandemic, which included a member of a BBC staff alongside tech companies, academics, and lobby groups. Now, Connolly told MPs that the forum was designed to take the sometimes hourly contract of the CDU with tech companies and raise it to the next level. I mean, she's admitting to all this. She was involved and she's admitting it. So it's essentially already been revealed about all the details, at least some of the details. Yet, why is it that we're still not getting any reaction from our lovely, lovely members of parliament? Where is the Labour Party? They're supposed to be the opposition. They are supposed to be holding the government to account. But they also became like parrots, completely repeating everything that the government was saying instead of challenging them. The only challenge that we had from Keir Starmer and the Labour Party during the pandemic was they were saying, why didn't you do lockdown sooner and harder? Really? But yeah, that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately. We have a lot of other news updates for you guys throughout the day. Every half an hour, we're going to come to you guys. We're going to expose some more tyranny from the government and Sadiq Khan as well. In London, he's going completely woke. He's taking it to a whole new level. And we're going to give you guys the update on the migrant crisis and the border issues and everything else. The best thing you can do is subscribe to the channel. I'm Mahyar, Tousi, and we are the media.